If you're running a SaaS company or you're responsible for the marketing there, you probably have considered testing paid search ads to get more customers. Google Ads are super effective because when people are already searching for a solution, they have a high level of intent and they're very likely to sign up. Google Ads are also very effective at burning mountains of cash, however, because they can be very competitive. So it's important to do them right. First thing we have to think about when starting to use paid search ads is how to structure our account. Because doing that wrong means a lot of trouble with optimization and performance monitoring later on. So I put together a few tips on how to set up your basic account structure. In order to make it all a little bit more tangible, let's look at this time tracking software here as an example. But of course, you can also use all of these ideas with any other type of SaaS product. There are a few different variables you can use to structure your campaigns. And if you sell internationally at all, I would always recommend to have different campaigns for all of your different geographies. And the reasons for that are twofold. Firstly, the targeting for language and geography is set on a campaign level, and you don't want to have to do that for every individual ad group. But secondly, different regions often have very different unit economics. So even if English ads work in the United States as well as in India, for instance, we will see completely different CPCs and conversion rates. So it's really important to separate this on a campaign level so you can optimize later on. Just separating your campaigns by geography and language isn't enough, however, of course. So there are a couple other dimensions that you could use to structure your campaigns. The first one here is the funnel stage. So you have the top, the middle, and the bottom of the funnel. And for instance, you could collect all of your more informational keywords in one campaign and all of your more transactional keywords in another campaign. Then secondly, you have the user persona. So you could maybe have different features for lawyers, for consultants, or for the finance department that are all related to time tracking. And then thirdly, you have the use case. So you could have time tracking automation features, you could have time tracking for project planning, or specifically for payroll management. I would always avoid structuring campaigns by funnel stage. I would assume that paid search is by definition the bottom of the funnel and use other channels to create awareness, for instance. Also, you would need to set different KPIs for these campaigns, making it very difficult to compare and optimize. Personas can work depending on the keywords you find and how clearly your product differs for these personas. For example, you might have specific time tracking features for lawyers, consultants, and finance department. Most of the time, the best way to structure campaigns is by use case because it best reflects the intent the user has. So you can align keywords, ad copy, landing pages, and bits around that. So what would this structure look like? The highest level here is the Google Ads account. If you're not an agency, you probably will only need one of those. The second level are the campaigns, and the third level are the ad groups. So on the campaign level, we want to separate between the different regions, like United States and Germany here. And we also want to separate between the different use cases, like payroll and resource planning, for example. On top of that, we'll have a campaign to bid on our competitor brands as well as on our own brand. For the other regions, we will have exactly the same structure. Then on the ad group level, we cluster keywords with a very similar intent. For example, everything related to shift planner or employee schedule. There are other time tracking tools like Clockify or Toggle, so we want to bid on them as well, especially if we're the challenger and they already have big brands. For the other regions, we will just copy that structure, but of course, we will have different keywords in different languages. Now, let's also have a quick look and see how this looks like in an actual Google Ads account. What's really important here is to define a consistent naming convention beforehand. It just has to work for you so that you can find and sort everything later on. On the campaign level, we have the region, here it's United States and Germany, as well as the use cases like project planning and payroll. On the ad group level, we have the keyword clusters like timesheets or time tracking software, as well as the match types. We also have the geography and the use case in the names again, because that makes filtering and analysis much easier later. It's not always necessary to have separate ad groups for match types, but since we're setting this up from scratch, we want to have as much control as possible at the beginning, because it's all about learning what works and what doesn't at this stage, and we don't want to just give Google all power to optimize all of this in its black box. So I hope that helps, and follow for more tips on how to scale your SaaS company. Bye.